All right, so welcome back to part 4 of this generative AI course. And today I'll be showing you how to use Gemini, Google Gemini. If you're a student, if you're a creator, whatever you want. So a lot of it is just basically because it's a Gen AI tool, a lot of it's really similar to ChatGPT. So if you are very familiar with ChatGPT or any other sort of Gen AI model, then you'll be very proficient in Gemini as well. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please go ahead subscribe because there's more videos coming on like this. And if you haven't seen the previous video where I showed you how to use NotebookLM, then go ahead, watch that video. The link will be in the description down below, so go ahead, check it out. So as you can see on my screen, I have Gemini open, and all you need is a Google account to use Gemini. And if you want to join in and work alongside me as we're doing this, then you can go and visit Gemini at gemini.google.com/app, or you can use the link in the description down below. Hence, we have the whole interface in front of us. So I'm going to go through the interface as usual, and then we'll start doing some awesome projects. So in front of you, you have something very similar to ChatGPT. On the left-hand side, you have all your chats. And down here you have settings. If you go to settings, you have all these different instructions that you can do. And because Gemini is a part of Google, you'll see a lot of things that are related to Google as well, such as you can connect your own apps to Gemini, meaning you can connect Gmail, Google Calendar, Drive, whatever it is, YouTube Music, anything that is a Google app will be, situated in here. As well as that, you can, of course, change your theme, see your activity, even though that's sort of alongside here. You can, of course, look at some more things, like you can change your subscription. Right now I'm using the free subscription just because I think a lot of users, I think 90% of users do use the free version of most LLMs, most large language models. And so hence, if it makes sense for me to make this course for people who use the free version. Anyway, those were the settings and all that. If I go back to the main chat area, this is the main chat. Right in front of you, you'll have, of course, the main magical wand right here, which is the, of course, prompt box. And this is where you write all your prompts, just like ChatGPT. Now, you'll notice something very cool, and that is that if I click the plus icon, you can actually add resources from NotebookLM. And the reason why is because NotebookLM is a product of Google. It is part of the Google AI Studio. So whatever notes you have in NotebookLM, you can, of course, have them part of your prompt, part of your chat right here, and you can ask it any relevant question, right? So aside from NotebookLM, you can add photos from Google Photos, add files from Google Drive, and other files from your computer. If I head over to Tools, now a lot of these things are, again, quite similar to ChatGPT, but a few things are quite different as well. So you'll see something very common, like create a new image or deep research. Those are things which are very close to ChatGPT's, but instead, create an image is using Nano Banana. Now, if you don't know what Nano Banana is, it's an image gen software made by Google. So like how Sora is OpenAI's product, you have Nano Banana as Google's product. Aside from that, you have create music. Now this is a very new feature, and I haven't really tested it just because of how new it is, and we'll see if we can create something with it. Otherwise, it's your turn to try it out. Guided learning is, well, a better way of learning, as Google says, and we'll do some of that as well. Other than that, if I go to this side of the prompt, you can choose what version of Gemini you want to use. So I'm using Gemini 3, but there's the fast, the thinking, and the pro version. I usually use the fast version just because I don't want it to be thinking so much about the work I do. I use mainly Gemini for university help, assignment helps, and all that. So I don't really want it to be thinking so much about it because it does take a bit of time. But yeah, that was the whole interface, and now we're going to try something really cool. So you might be asking, well, is there a different way to prompt Gemini compared to ChatGPT? Well, because both AI models are different, they will give you somewhat different answers, but the structure is still the same, right? So you, of course, have define, explain, resist, and this is the only strategy that I think that has helped me create and get the awesome results from Gemini ChatGPT. If you do think that you want to try something different, then you can. Otherwise, I would always just recommend using the same format, because again, they're the same LLMs, they use the same, they not really same, but they think a lot similar with one another. But I'm not going to explain the define, explain, resist prompt structure, just because I've shared it many times. So if you haven't seen that, then go watch part 2 of the Gen AI course and you'll see all about it. Now, the first thing I want to look at is, if you are a student and you are wanting to know how to study better, right, then there is a simple way to do that. Right, so like in the last episode, in part 3, we discussed how to use NotebookLM. So what we're going to do is, first we're going to go to NotebookLM, click this button down here, and we are going to add a notebook. Right, so you can see a selection of all my notebooks here, which I have used in or created in the past few months. Right now, we're going to use the latest notebook that I used in the last part, which was the finance notebook. So I'm just going to add that. Right, so I have that notebook added. As well as that, I'm going to go to tools. I'm going to go to tools and I'm going to click on, let's say, guided learning. So we have these two selections now, and you can do this for any sort of prompt or any sort of topic that you want to learn. For now, we're just going to use a normal example. So it's going to ask us, what do you want to learn? So let's say I want to learn about building a startup and how I can do that with a certain amount of money, and what is the best startup to start as a young 19-20-year-old. So that's going to be our prompt, and we'll see what it looks like after I write it out. If you're also wanting to copy the prompts and try it out for yourself, then I'll have everything, I guarantee you everything, in the description down below. Don't forget to check it out. Everything's in the description. Alrighty, so I've written the whole prompt and I've even, given it to Gemini, but I'll just show you what I've written. So in this sort of case scenario, you don't really need very long prompts, just because you already have a lot of references, a lot of sources to back up the knowledge in your prompt. You would have given it the notebook from NotebookLM, and as well as that, you would have said to do some guided learning as the tool to select. So in this case, your prompt is not going to be that long, but this is what I typically wrote. So I wrote that I'm a typical finance student studying entrepreneurial finance. I'm struggling with the concept of startups and ventures, and I don't know what type of startup I should start as a 19-20-year-old. I need to write an academic report for an assignment talking about what startups are going to be booming in the next 5 years, and hence the assignment has to be 500 words long with APA referencing. So that was my prompt, straightforward, to the point. As you can see, Gemini has not written the report. Bear in mind, if I were to do this on ChatGPT, or if I did this without selecting the guided learning tool, this AI, Gemini, would have written the report already. Now you might be thinking, well, isn't that a bad thing if it hasn't written the report? In fact, it's a good thing, because it's showing you that rather than just, asking AI to write your reports, it's going to forcefully make you learn and understand the concept. And as I said, if you want to have a report written by Gemini, then it's gonna not write it for you, but help you write it out yourself. It's gonna be like a personal tutor alongside you, and it will show you the ways, it will show you the ropes of how you want to develop your report. So in this case, what it's written is, it's taken stuff from my notebook that I've studied, and from my lectures, and it's gonna, of course, understand and simplify that learning into a simple chat. So it's talking about understanding startups and ventures, shown us all the stages here. It's shown us different principles that were in my lecture notes. So cash as currency, risk and reward, venture value. And down here, it's going to ask a few questions. So it's going to ask us, how do I want this assignment to go? Which areas do I find most interesting? So let's say I want to first explore productivity tools. Yeah, so as you can see, it's going through the different steps of what the report should look like. It's not really showing me, or it's not really writing the report for me, just because I think that's what majority of students do nowadays. But this is a far better way of learning and completing your assignments, just because Gemini really shows you and tries to make you understand what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. If you want to make this even more better, than if you are trying to write a report or an assignment, then I would recommend submitting a marking guide or a marking schedule, just so Gemini knows that whatever you're being marked on for the report is going to be worth. But hence, it's given us 3 points that we can go after. So market opportunity, financial viability and life cycle, or risk assessment. So we'll start with the market opportunity and gap analysis. Yeah, so it's done a bit of research for us, and as you can see, it's gone through the findings, it's done a bit of research, and it's even given us some typical tools. So it's given us all these findings, and it's going to keep on asking us questions, and as a student you can of course keep analyzing, keep giving it suggestions of how you want your report to go. It's never going to write the report for you, it's going to help you write the report, right? So you'll be writing and they'll be giving you suggestions and help in all sorts of ways. So that was guided learning, and if you wanted to do research as a student, that's how you can use Gemini for making sure that you get the best grade possible. Otherwise, if you are a creator and you are looking to make content regularly on your channel or on your Instagram account, then this prompt is by far the best when it comes to researching for content. So a lot of people and a lot of creators like me as well struggle with what content ideas are going viral, or what content is actually working on YouTube or Instagram, and how we can actually benefit and get the most views and subscribers out of that. So I'm going to show you a prompt, and we're going to look forward to seeing what that prompt actually gives us in results for Gemini. Again, as a reminder, everything is going to be in the description down below, so go ahead, check it out. And if you are liking this video, then subscribe to the channel would be absolutely awesome. Alrighty, so after around 30-40 minutes, I've curated a very in-depth prompt, and as you can see, that is how long it is. So I've used the define, explain, resist method, and I've curated this prompt, and I've basically given it every single detail about myself and about who Gemini is. I've shared it that I'm a creator, I have this many subscribers, I'm this years old, I want to create this type of content, these are my competitors. And hence you can see that the more detail you give to Gemini or any sort of LLM, then the more they're able to understand who you are, and the more they're able to give you a curated answer. So this was my whole prompt, and the reason why I wrote this prompt was I want to come up with proper content ideas for my channel. I want to understand what my competitors are doing. I want to know how many times a week should I be uploading to be growing on YouTube. So that was the whole gist of this prompt, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to see what Gemini has actually written. So it's saying my long form strategy should be 2 videos per week, and I should focus on searchability and authority, and showcasing a few video ideas as well, like university student series or the agency reality series, as I build metamedia, and some other series as well. And it's giving me short form strategies as well, so around 3 to 4 short form pieces a week. It's giving me the format, the topic idea, and even some of the hooks. Now, I wouldn't really trust some of the hooks that Gemini gives, just because they're very generic and very AI-y. So I have my own viral hooks for short form content. So if you want to also have access to that, then go ahead, follow me on Instagram, because I'll have all those resources on my Instagram bio. But it also gives me my competitors, Ishan Sharma as one of my competitors. If you haven't seen him, he's a very good YouTuber, very similar content. And it also shows me a few other things as well. So thumbnails, make sure I have high contrast thumbnails, 30-second rule for long form videos, and community, replying to every single message. So it's giving me a format to work with, and it's giving me some sort of idea of what content I can create. So instead of you going around and searching on Google Trends or YouTube about what's actually working, you can use AI to your advantage and give it this beast of a prompt, and you can gain all of this, strategy wise information. Now, if you are wanting to level up this prompt, then what I can suggest you ask is, if you're a short form creator, then generate you a 30-day content calendar for each and every video. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to give it a prompt for a 30-day content calendar. Right, so I asked it to generate a 30-day content calendar, and it's first of all broken it down into 4 weeks. So week 1, 2, 3, 4. And for each and every date, it has a video. So 1st of April, short form video, 2nd, long form, and 4th, 5th, 7th, all that sort of stuff. And it's done that for up to week 4. as well. And it's even given me a link to where I can watch how I can start a YouTube channel in 2026 from someone else who's created content. Hence, there are many ways of leveling up your own prompting game. I've been prompting and using AI for quite a long time, so I know how things work with Gemini and ChatGPT. But if you are just starting out, then make sure you learn from this, as well as other creators as well who are making content from or about AI. But if you really enjoyed this part, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you think that this course is going to benefit someone, then go ahead and share it with them. And I'll see you in the next video.